Alrighty. I think I'm just gonna just th- this feels right to me. Just thank you notes. It's so easy. I sent an email to Mr. Qualey, from BC High, and it was this long, verbose, perhaps circuitous, regardless. Um, I found, because I get in the moment and I share. I want to get all my thoughts down. I don't want the thoughts to Um, it's almost in a way it's like a time sensitivity thing or greed. No, not greed, but more yes, like I don't want this moment to I don't want to lose the moment if that makes sense. Like, oh, I have this I'm accessing, I'm in whatever Turing machine, whoever's operating the Turing machine in my brain, they're at the Mr. Qualey appreciation location at the moment, and it's like I don't want to. Yes, it's like I am honestly too impatient to wait for because it's always there. It's not that it pops up and then it goes back. The circuitry or however the brain works, it's always there. But it's just a matter of yes, it's like I'm trying to actualize it. It's like I want to be able to send the thank you note if that makes sense. But this is way easier because I can just talk, which talking is perhaps for me it's too easy. Which is fair. Uh, but regardless, this is fun for me. And if saying thank you, if learning about things, if discussing ideas is fun, then you know that's a good thing. Anyways, this is a thank you to Miss Connolly, um, sophomore year scripture class. I was essentially a 607 number. Oh, I'm getting a call. All right, let me pause this. Alrighty, quick work call. The my man Jack from Panera. Shout out to Jack from Panera. We're just checking the schedule, making sure that I did not miss my shift, which I didn't. I was correct. That's the beautiful thing about the truth. I'll get to Miss Connolly. You deserve uh, this. Thank you will not. Yeah, the great thing about gratitude is there's so many things to be grateful for. It's like a like I always just have more arrows to fire off. I gotta I gotta do the animation. I have the quiver of arrows. It comes from your mind for gratitude. I'll finish this thought quickly, and then I'll just hop into the thank you. There's one point, like one, yes, it's like when I find a new way or a new thing to be grateful for. It's like I'm really excited, and I'm like, oh, I gotta share. Um, yeah, but one thing I want to say about gratitude is a constant. It is simply the if you when you deploy the gratitude function in your brain or when your brain deploys, who knows? When the guy operating the Turing machine deploys the gratitude function, guy or girl, it's yeah. Um, when the entity, there we go. That's uh a yeah, the term it's an asexual term, if that makes sense. Like it's not doesn't entity is yeah, asexual is the correct term, I think. But it also refers to something else. But it's a very useful term, if that makes sense. Like Spanish has gendered language, so in English does not as much. There's like echoes of it. There are echoes. I'm sure. It's also echoes of. Or anyways, okay. Gratitude, yes. It is a matter of actualizing. It is a matter of identifying it. Yes, that is identifying things that you have always been grateful for. Because to me, gratefulness is simply uh, you can be great. Like try. Here's my challenge for you guys today. Try to be as grateful, and I hope Miss Connolly sees this, but if not, no worries. My challenge for you today is to see how, like, just how far gratitude can go. It's actually ridiculous because essentially, when something, it's all about perception. What you perceive, like the Overton window for gratitude. Trust me, zhung, you can crank that baby open and let the winds of past experience of life's lessons, let them flow through. What I mean by that, uh, about a month ago now, we're closing in on a month. Um, I was nearing the end. I wasn't. I was actually I was aware that I was nearing the end, but I was nearing the end of what was maybe the worst period of my life. Worst month or two. But worst is it's we don't know what direction worst in terms of what. But for this purpose, worst is fine. Not grueling, not grueling. Uh, Needlessly, it was self-imposed. Um, yes, there was one point. Shout out to what's his face, Charles from the laundromat. Uh, oh man, that's a great story. That's a story time. We might have to wait a while for that because we got to let that one cool off. That was, uh, if Charles sees this, fantastic. Goddamn, that was. Oh, that no, I. Goddamn, that's in my vocabulary. That it's an expression. It's an expression of emotion. Anyways, he said he made a really he helped me connect dots, which to me, I'm always, to anybody who has helped me connect dots, to anybody who is a dot or a dot connector, one who any of the matrix in here, I'm so grateful for everyone because I'm so grateful to be who I am, and I see how so many people contributed to that. So I'm grateful for who I am, but I recognize so many past mistakes. So to me, it's like uh, my uh, my mission is pretty simple. It's search for truth, look for truth, and right my wrongs. And there's a whole lot of calibration and trying to figure out how to actually work how that deploys in real life. But to me, okay, I'm getting away from the thank you, Miss Connolly. Thank you for being. Yes, you are a. I had this idea where I like to say, "Oh, I'm the attorney for the numbers," and I defend them, which I really like to, because I see how everything essentially stems from numbers, uh, which is also the name of a. Oh, is it I think it's Old Testament. The Book of Numbers. That's I love that name. Maybe I should go back and I ought to go back and read it, perhaps. Well, I'm not gonna not go back and read the Bible because to me, it is all text. It is all thoughts. It is, well, actually, I got very lucky because I grew up in the Mormon faith, so I have a very sharp A/B contrast. I have the Bible, which includes it's replete with historical references. You can backdate things like archaeological evidence, all these sorts of things. The Bible was an account happening in real time, and we can verify it. Um, the Book of Mormon is not that, unfortunately. Um, uh, it's a collection of it is the it has echoes of Greek mythology to me. And Greek mythology is a very important, it's a very powerful set of stories, if that makes sense. And just because they are true or untrue, just because they happen to like I think uh most ex-Mormons, I'm sorry, Miss Connolly, I or the attorney point. Thank you for being the attorney for the Old Testament. Because I had not necessarily written it off completely. I didn't write the Mormon Church out. I didn't write. I never really write. I ended up the reason things went so bad for me, and now I'm starting to recover. Is I wrote myself off, uh, in ways, and I didn't even realize that. If that makes sense. Like I was sort of I was aware of it, but I didn't care that I wrote myself off. That was the real thing. It didn't bother me, and I was okay with the fact that it bothered me less and less and less over time. Anyways, um, Miss Connolly, you were the attorney, the defense attorney for the Old Testament, which to me, it's like I didn't even care that it was on trial, if that makes sense. Or not on trial, but I didn't care to evaluate it. Yes, I didn't care to evaluate it, but you stood up for it. It's like I witnessed someone um, arguing for its viability, for its truth, for its utility, for its usefulness, for uh, as as our main man. Say that somewhat sarcastically, but the term maps of meaning from Jordan Peterson is a very useful term, and he is a thinker. And the beautiful thing about thinkers or intellectuals is you can argue with them. Okay. Um, you can argue with them, and they may not. All of us are imperfect intellectuals. We allow our emotions, the fact that someone is attacking our ideas, that inevitably creeps into our thought processes. Um, it's like it feels like a loss. I'm trying to think of it's like friction. Yes, it's like friction. It's inevitable. It would be great to be frictionless, you'd think, but actually, then how are you stopping? You need gravity to pull you around. Something about gravity and friction. Uh, how gravity, friction, um, gravity and friction. We have friction with uh, that's for another time. Uh, Miss Connell, Miss Connolly, thank you for your scripture class. That was a highlight of my sophomore year, which was like the best year for me in high school. Things were going so well in so many areas for me. And at the time, that's how I evaluated myself. I said, "Oh, I'm getting good grades. I'm in shape. I have uh shout out to Olivia. I had a bunch of friends. Like things were and to me, I thought that was the game. I thought that like hitting like fire. I thought firing on every cylinder. I thought because I was a well-oiled six-cylinder or like V12. I don't know anything about cars, but I thought because I was like a V12 supercar going pretty fast, and I had things like things were going well at the time. I thought that was the game. I thought the game. I was like, oh, I. There was a sense of nice, like good job, but I didn't know what to keep pushing for. Um, and that didn't bother me nearly enough. I was too satisfied. I was too appeased by the neurochemicals, the benevolent in my brain, which is it's the nature. It's in our blood. It's in our nature. It's the fault in our stars, perhaps. But Miss Connolly, I remember you had I forget the name. It's the horn from the Jewish tradition. Um, I forget the name. But someone might know it. But you had it on your door, on your like to your office. You had it there, and to me, that was so cool because it's a Christian or it's a Jesuit school, which is I think Christian. I don't know. I don't know if Jesuit is a. I don't know if that stems from Catholicism. I don't. I should know. I took. Sorry, Mr. Mers. I did pay attention to your Christian thought class. I think it is. I think it must be because it. I don't. It don't. It, I doubt it hails from the Protestant tradition, but maybe Jesuit might just stem off from Christianity in a way. And something food for thought for you guys. The Mormon Church is now purportedly at 17 million members. I'm technically one of those members. I never signed my resignation papers. I never cared to open. It didn't matter to me. I didn't need to leave. I just stopped going, if that makes sense. And I didn't identify. I now I identify as culturally Mormon, like in this, like in the yeah, like I'm Mormon by tradition, if that makes sense. Like I was raised Mormon. That's what I say. Um, it's like when people say they were raised Catholic. You know, I heard that and I was like, oh, I am built like that. That's me. Miss Connolly, you had the I should know the name. I should know the name. That's all right. Um, but yeah, and you you had really good takes on a bunch of the Old Testament stuff. It was yes, you had really good takes, and you were able to synthesize and compare to you threaded the needle, Miss Connell. You threaded the needle between these stories from thousands of years ago and contemporary problems and social issues. That to me was awesome because my mom had similar uh, misgivings, and rightfully so, about the Mormon Church and their stances on social issues and various other things. Um, and she wrestled with the history of the church, the treatment of African Americans, among other things. Um, and it only ended like I don't even need to know. Yes, there's so much stuff in church, like so much bad in the Mormon church history, but I never really cared that much to pour through it because honestly, the reason, like, there's really two reasons for me that helped me or that led me to simply view the Mormon church as see, I still see it in the same way. I say the people there, so many of the best people I know, so many of, but I don't even like saying best people I know because it's just we're lucky. We're lucky to have grown up in a. The Mormon Church is a very effective entity, institution, and I think it's running out of steam because of the advent of science, um, and DNA testing. It's a it's a synthesis. The Book of Mormon is a synthesis of many stories, and just because it is synthesized, uh, it may not have. Yeah, it's the idea of fruit of a poisonous tree. Um, it's like that's only like two dimensional, maybe, or it's very yes. Like we need n-dimensional matrices to work with the truth, if that makes sense. And there might be some aspects that grew from a poisonous tree, but it's like this poisonous, and by poisonous I mean like uh yeah, they didn't sail from as far as we know right now in the current moment. The preponderance of evidence suggests that they didn't. Um, but this is the great thing about being about not tying yourself down to intellectual poles or no's in that sense. We don't have any evidence for it right now. It is it is possible for people. I think around 600 BC is the claim. It is technically possible. Like physically one I don't know, like okay, maybe the engineering yes, like there's this is the thing with evidence and archaeological evidence. We're always finding more. We're pretty set in stone about the dinosaurs, their existence, their roaming of the earth, 165 million years. Um, that's pretty locked in. Um, but for the yes, when it comes to evidence, like we say beyond a reasonable doubt. We don't say reach a the there's the idea of burden of proof, but it's not you need to reach X amount of evidence. It's no, you need to cast away X amount of doubt, which is how we do everything. Um, we don't, yeah, that's how our brain works, if that makes sense. It's like it's almost like our brain is like, okay, this circuit, once your brain understands, once the Turing machine operator understands that this circuit is not going to fire the way that it ought to slash needs to, if that makes sense, then we let go of it and we leave it there. It's kind of like memory in storage in a computer. You just leave it there, and then if it's easier, you either leave it there or you rework it into something else in the moment. You can always come back later. Um, but we simply just mark it as like keep discard, or like 1-0 important. You don't even need to do another. You only need to. It's either marked or unmarked. Marks. Oh, very nice. This is a cool name. What do we have? Cool, cool. Text from uh, a text from Mr. Karanda. Uh, yes, I should read more. You're right. But this is um, I want to read. I want to read what people have to say. Yeah, thank you, Miss Connolly, for uh, you reminded me of how useful stories can be and how important ideas are not uh, if once when we truly distill an idea for what it is, when we distill it down to what it is, um, then it's a very powerful tool because I'm spitting, I'm cooking, yes, I'm cooking. Uh, but it's not me who, it's just the matrix in my brain that's cooking, and I'm a vessel for it. Ideas are inevitable. Because I had this idea earlier of people using like technological innovation is inevitable. That's saying you need not worry about time. The time constraint is and time is everything. It really is. Um, it's like saying no, no, you don't need to worry. No, time. Don't worry about time. Don't. That's fine. Uh, is it really inevitable if we, let's say, for argument's sake, for a hypothetical, let's say we're running out of fossil fuels. Okay, our main energy source. For a hypothetical, okay, surely that's not happening in real life. Um, this is the nature of the problem. Technological innovation is inevitable. Okay, on all time scales? What do we mean by inevitable to me is um like inextricable of time or not time dependent. You don't have to factor time into the equation, which is not true at all. 50 to 100 years, um or let's say 150. Let's say 150 years. We do have other energy sources. I'm aware of this, but for the sake of argument, walk with me on this. Let's say, oh, I don't know, resource scarcity becomes the primary concern of geopolitical enterprises. Oh, it already is one of them. Maybe not the main one. There's also pride and other things, national pride. That's where I think America, to keep, yes, you have to keep the game going. The game, if you take away one thing from this video, the game is to keep the game going. The game of life is to keep the game of life going. That's the only game. If you are as lost as me, and trust me, I was very lost, just keep that in mind. The game is to keep the game going, and don't feel bad if you suck at the game. Don't. Because I sucked more than you. I was terrible at it. I was ready to throw everything away, okay? Don't worry about it. It is what it is. It equals it. It is what it is. X equals X. It's an identity thing. Um, if yeah, if the rules you followed brought you to this and you don't like what it is, that's okay. You can you don't have to be stuck to what you are in the moment. You can look at the rules and say, maybe there's some rules in here that I'm not as big of a fan of. That's what I would say to people who are lost. Um, yeah, it's I I really developed an acute time blindness, or I don't know if acute's the right word. A repugnant, yes, a repugnant time blindness. If that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me, but it sounds cool, so I'm gonna go with it. But time blindness is a very scary thing. Something about fossil fuels. Oh, yeah, technological innovation. Yes, is it inevitable? If, like I said, resource scarcity, countries start competing more and more. Well, we already compete, but uh, we have nuclear weapons and resource scarcity. That sounds like a not good time to me. Um, and in that world, I would ask those who maybe heard me say, who question technological innovation is inevitable. I would say we have the ability, we have a humanity more so than ever before. Like the flood is what let's say Noah's Ark is true, and the flood is may not be exactly true, but the you know the flood, the oh, I don't know, ice age, meteor hitting Earth. Those are physical resets. Those are resets external to humanity. Um, Now we have the technology to predict or to see when an asteroid is coming. We could probably fire some nukes at it and send it off course. We're so powerful. Oh my goodness. Guys, we can we cannot stop Mother Nature. We can work with Mother Nature. We can have a conversation. We can have a dialogue. We don't have to succumb to ice ages. We can weather the storms. We can be like Aang in the iceberg, doing let me hit it. Come on, let me hit it. I didn't mean to say it like that, but it is what it is. We can hit that pose and survive. We can weather the iceberg, okay? We're so powerful. But we also have in that power, we have that power. We can work with Mother Nature like never before. We also have we have the most powerful self-destruct button. Nuclear weapons. Okay, we have to be very careful. Okay? We have the power to stop technological innovation. We might not be able to kill it. You can never truly kill it because life emerged somehow. So life will emerge again somewhere else in the universe. The nukes are our way of saying we quit. That's our quit button. That's our turn off the console out of frustration button. I'm sure many of you have rage quit. That's our rage quit button, okay? We have a rage quit button. We have a cool console, awesome games. We all the kids out there know how fun video games are. Cool. We have that. We also have the ability to, out of frustration, ping, out of frustration, out of any emotion, doesn't matter what emotion, we have the ability to turn off our console. That is something to keep in mind moving forward. Um, but yeah, thank you, Miss Connolly. Uh, this is what I do. I just churn, I share my thoughts. I think I'll title this episode Last Point. I would recommend for any young aspiring writers out there, uh, leave the intro very, don't even worry about the intro. Don't worry about the intro. The intro, because right now I think about the title, and the title is like the thesis for the intro, if that makes sense. Like what do I wish to say with the hook? The title is really the hook. We are taught that the intro, like the first lines, it's the title. The title is the hook. Because I have to title this video. And what is this video going to be titled? I don't know until I'm finished rambling. Uh, it was always going to be a thank you note to Miss Connolly. It is a thank you note to Miss Connolly, and it is a thank you note to Miss Connolly and something else. I'll think of it. But clearly, um, inevitable. Oh, I could do that. Technological innovation is evitable. We could do that. Um, they're they are related somehow. I somehow started with one and got to the other. But it was similar to uh, like the horseshoe theory or dialectic, where you have to take a path to get very close to things. Um, but if I had to summarize, yes, Miss Connolly, it's that you reminded me. Well, you you taught us so much, but in this thread that I'm honing in on, you reminded me not to leave stones unturned. Thank you so much for that. Your class is awesome, and I hope to visit you and other faculty at BC High soon. I don't know when, but it'll happen soon. Uh, Thank you guys for watching. See ya.